Don't you ever allow the Zionist movement to make you think that this is a Jews versus Palestine issue. Today, over 500 Jews and allies rallied in Congress calling for a ceasefire. Watch this. We must remember the Jews who stand by our side, and we must protect them. Because a lot of them already get a lot of pushback from their own communities just for standing up for human rights. In what world do we live in when somebody gets hate because they're calling for a ceasefire? Thank you so much to the Jewish community who organized this. Please remember that it is our duty to protect these people.
So what brings you here today?
To support Palestinian rights. We as Jews are embarrassed what's happening there in the state of Israel in the Jewish name.
And what's your message to the people of Palestine?
They shouldn't give up the struggle. They should continue to fight and not give up the struggle against the state of Israel, because by the end Palestine will be free, because this is truth. And the truth, which are free Palestine, will succeed by the end.
Joe Biden, stop funding genocide in my name.
I'm a Jewish American and I can't stand for what's happening right now in Gaza.
Globally, we are not okay with the ethnic cleansing of the people of Palestine.
And the United States is complicit in this genocide. I am so ashamed of my government.
Hundreds of Jewish Americans demonstrated in front of the White House to protest against what they call a genocide in Gaza.
Not in our name!
We are coming here to march to the White House to demand that President Biden put a stop to this violence, call for an immediate ceasefire. Ceasefire now. Ceasefire now.
We are also here to say all of our grief is not an excuse for genocide.
The US president has yet to call for a ceasefire despite Israeli bombardment killing thousands in Gaza.
He has disgraced us. He has allowed our weapons to be used to kill the innocent in thousands.
Over 2 million people trapped in concentration camps. Israel needs to set them free.
During an interview with CBS on the 15th of October, President Biden said that Israel had to respond and that the US would provide everything they need.
You have to see the faces of the children, the men and the women, people.
There is no justification for hurting unarmed people. There's no justification for hurting children. There's no justification for the occupation. It has to end. This has to stop.
I want more American citizens to wake up and get out here. Boycott the United States. Boycott Israel.
I grew up brainwashed as a Zionist. I didn't even realize that Palestinians were real people until a few years ago. But they are real people, and they deserve to be free.
Jews who are true to the Torah around the world have always been opposed to Zionism, to the state of Israel, because it's antithetical to our belief to have a Jewish state at all. Now that the state of Israel has been created in 1948 in Palestine by occupying another people's land, oppressing the entire people, and the continuation of killing and stealing the land is in total violation of not only human rights violations and international norms, but it also goes against the very basics of Jewish belief. So we are out here to stand in sympathy with the people who suffer in Palestine, and to say that everything that Israel does to the Palestinians is illegitimate, goes against the Jewish religion. The only solution is to bring hopefully a peaceful dismantlement to the state of Israel, which is the obstacle to peace, because prior to the creation of the state of Israel there was peace in Palestine.
If you say, I'm not anti-Jews, I'm anti-Zionists, who do you think Zionists are?
Hi, I'm Quinn and I'm an anti-Zionist Jew. Zionist Jews have gotten really, really good at making this conflict and this crisis an issue of anti-Semitism. That's not what it is. The way they spin it, if you don't support Israel, if you don't support the right of Jewish people to establish an ethno-state on currently occupied land, you're a Nazi, you're anti-Semitic, you're blowing dog whistles, you want Jewish people to die. Not true. This conflict, this crisis is not about religion. It's about land. Before Zionism had ever come into the mainstream political sphere, before Israel was ever created, before the Holocaust, before all of it, Jews, Muslims, and Christians all lived in Palestine. Palestine was not a Muslim country. The land is spiritually relevant to almost all major religions. And up until the proliferation of Zionism and the establishment of the Israeli state, all major religions with ties to the land were represented in the population of Palestine. The issue arose after the Holocaust. There was a mass immigration of Jews from Europe to Palestine, and eventually it became a mainstream political party and political ideology to believe that Jews were owed ownership of the land. It didn't matter what other religions were spiritually connected to the land should be owned by Jewish people. And Zionists make this about anti-Semitism. They are forcing you to pick either anti-Semitism or Islamophobia. It's inherently violent, it's an inaccurate portrayal of the conflict, and it's a bastardization of Judaism. Using Judaism and the atrocities of the Holocaust to justify and inform settler colonial violence is a slap in the face to the entire faith and a perversion of what Judaism teaches us.
It's not the difference of religions which is causing this conflict. The state of Israel does not represent all Jews and certainly does not represent the Jewish religion. According to Jewish religion, all of this is criminal. All of this is forbidden. Basics of Jewish belief teaches that Jews are in a divinely decreed exile. We are even forbidden to create a sovereignty for ourselves. But especially when this is by killing, stealing, oppressing an entire people. This is not only criminal according to international law. This is a true violation of Judaism. And still, those people who choose not to follow Judaism misuse that very same religion to justify all those crimes forbidden in Judaism. The root cause is this criminal occupation which is oppressing an entire people. We have to end this occupation in its entirety. If people will ask me my advice, the leaders of Israel should wake up tomorrow morning and step out of the Knesset and return the land back to indigenous population. I guarantee peace.
Israeli police just branded the Star of David on a Palestinian man's face. The police used their shoe to brand it on the Palestinian man's face. Anyone seeing this should be appalled. But people of Jewish faith who still support Zionism, who are very proud of Israel, should be the ones that are most disgusted by how Judaism is being used to sustain Israel's abuses. This barbaric settler colonial state has used Judaism for more than 70 years to abuse the sanctity and the sacredness of the human body and the souls of an entire nation. This incident is an example of exactly what I mean when I tell people that Israel and Israel's existence and Israel's ideology is anti-Semitic in its essence. Because you can't convince me that a state that uses an entire religion and bases its abuses on that religion and uses it to justify its presence, to justify its colonial presence, is not doing a disservice to the entire Jewish community. I will always say this: Israel is first and foremost an anti-Semitic state. That should be the new branding of this disgusting settler colony. You can't keep doing this and getting away with it, and then when we go and criticize Israel, we're called the anti-Semites. Palestinians are not anti-Semites. It's people who stomp on someone's face and put a star, the Star of David, on their shoe, are the anti-Semites, even though they claim that they established the state for the good of the Jewish people.